Clear? Okay. Now I have these three values. Is it is possible? Now what I need to do, once you calculate these guy, do I need to return these values to the function? Now I need to say PF, comma, HRA, comma, total salary. Is it is possible to do like this? We cannot return more than one value from a single function. Now what I'm going to do, can I say an array like this? Okay, so this is what we call it as anonymous array. What is the name of this array? Now if you say, for example, I say where some data equal to array, now you are returning a single value. This is one way we can do. Yes, I'm taking the array of values of into data and I'm returning simply data. So when how many values you're returning? I'm returning one array. Under that array, you have multiple values. Okay. Now this is one way, or other way what I have is I can simply say return this guy. Now at line number 25, if I ask you a question, what is the name of the array? Data is the name of that array. Now at line number 28, what is the name of the array? We don't have name. Any array which is not having a name, we call it as a anonymous array. Okay, if a function is there, function is not having a name, we call it as an anonymous function. There is an array which is not having the name, it will be anonymous array. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Okay. So, yeah. So I have written one of the get employee details, a method which is reading the data from the user, another method get total salary, which is calculating the total salary, and I'm going to return the values in the form of an array. Why I'm not returning in single value? Because I have some values inside this, more than one, and I want to utilize these values inside this function. In general, you cannot pass n number of values into this function. You can only pass single value. That is the reason I'm putting all the values into an array of group of values. Now I'm returning one single value, but I'm returning indirectly multiple values. Now there is an array without having any of the name. We call it as a anonymous array. Anywhere you see anything which is not having a name in your JavaScript, we call it as a anonymous array. Anonymous functions also we'll see later, but right now it is anonymous. Now, when I'm returning something, do I need to catch the data? Yes, right? If I hit to catch, I say that where some salary data equal to something. Now the salary data is an array. Now, how do you get the PF from this? Can I say PF equal to salary data of 0? Any questions why I'm saying salary data of 0? Because this array is returning 3 individual values, where the first value is the PF value, second value is the HR value, third value is the total salary. Now this first value will be passed into S data here. Salary data of 0 position will be your PF. Isn't it? So indirectly, this is not like this. Indirectly, it will be PF assume like so and so, so and so, and so and so. This is what 3 individual values will be going here. Isn't it? Now the first value we are taking into PF, second value HRA will be your salary data of 1, and the total salary will be, come on, it will be 2. Are we clear? So see the magic over here. This is the private data I have, the basic salary. Basic salary is the private data. We could able to pass the basic salary, the private data into this function. Now these guy is having 3 private data. Now I could able to even access these guy into the other function. So this is both passing parameters and returning multiple values. Okay. Earlier in our first example, when there is no return arrays is not yet finished. At that time, when I want the total and average, we are compromising to get only the average value, not the total. Why so? We couldn't able to return multiple values. But now as we have finished the array, I can return multiple values also here. Are we good up to this? Everyone? Okay. On the top, now what I need to do, I have these 3 values. Now I should able to say get grade. Isn't it? I need to, sorry, not the grade. I need to get the tax here, right? Get total tax. In order to calculate the total tax, we need 2 values. What are those? Gender and total salary. Based on the gender, based on the total salary, I need to calculate this. Now I say some gender, because gender is the private data of these guys. At the same time, these guys having the total salary, you will be getting the total salary also. Now let us define this method. I say where so and so is equal to so and so. Now this total salary is getting the gender following with T salary. Can I change this variable? What happened? Okay, can I gender and the salary. Now I say based on the gender, right? If the gender is equal to male, we are going to do some logic. If it is else, we treat this as female. Okay. Now, in case of your male, what I can do is if the total salary is greater than is equal to 5 lakhs. Okay. We say that where tax percent equal to 0. Initially, I take the tax percent as 0. Now I say that tax percent is equal to 15%. Okay. If this is not the case, I say else if total salary greater than equal to say something called as 4 lakhs. I say tax percentage is equal to say some 10. Else if total salary greater than equal to 3 lakhs. I set tax percentage equal to 5. In other case, it will be 0. I don't need to check it. Anyway, tax percentage, I'm going with 0 by default. Now, if say, for example, 1 lakh is the salary I got, is 1 is greater than 5? No, boss. 1 is greater than 4? No, boss. 1 is greater than 3? No, boss. Obviously, it is not going anywhere. My tax percentage is 0. If you don't put this guy, you need to unnecessarily put like else it is so and so. Instead of this, I'm just assigning by default it as 0. The same way, I need to put this conditions for the female condition also, where female it will be 10 percentage and this guy will be 5. You won't be having any question for this. Now I got only the tax percentage value, but I need to calculate, right? Now I need to say where tax to be paid. So how much tax I need to pay here? I need to say tax to be paid is whatever the total salary you have, the total salary into whatever the tax percentage you have, divided by 100. If it is 0, it will be 0 by 100, which is 0 percentage. That's it. Now I have the tax to be paid value here. Do I need to return to this guy to this guy? Yes, right? Now I'll simply say return tax to be paid. Now, when I'm returning this, who is calling this? This guy, right? Where tax to be paid equal to so and so. So for this guy, you are passing the gender, you're passing the total salary. He will in turn return you the total salary, what need to be paid for the user. Are we clear? Everyone? Okay, that's it. Now what I need to do? Do I need to show the data to the user? I say display employee details. Now for this guy, I need to pass EMP name, gender, basic salary, and tax to be paid. Okay, now I go for this method. Where so-and-so equal to so-and-so. And one more thing, guys, a lot of people, you have pinged me for the recordings, right? The last class recording. Did anyone ping me from this offline class? No one? Online students, did anyone ping me for the recordings? Only one? I got message from Nukraju. Why female have low tax? Obviously, we need to agree that. Okay, so Sachin, you're asking for today's class itself. Anyway, for the last class, right? The reason I know that a lot of people are messaging me for the recording and I haven't yet replied, the only reason is I haven't got the recording, guys. If I get the recording, I'm going to submit. So whoever is helping me in submitting the record, so might be some issues. He or she is haven't yet uploaded the recording. So that is the reason I haven't done. Once I get it, for sure, I'm going to reply back with that. Don't take in a wrong assumption that his sir is not responding. But my intention was only this. If I have the recording, for sure, I'm going to ping it. But sometimes you may ping me and I may not respond, but you can keep a reminder back to me because, you know, like I'll be having almost like 50 to 60 messages. Sometimes you put a message, someone else has kept a message. So I'll be having the stack as grown up there. So to avoid that, don't take in other way. Don't go for ego that boss sir is not responding. Why should I message him? Don't take in that way. You can just ping me once again. Okay, whenever I get free time or when I have the recording, I'll just respond back to you. Just keep on a reminder message saying that boss, I haven't got something like that. Okay. Yeah. So when I say display employee details, now I'm going to receive all this data. I'm going to get the name, the gender, these all things will be there. Okay. Now I say console.log name is plus EMP name. Gender is so and so. Console.log basic salary is basic salary. console.log. Tax to be paid. Are we clear? Okay. Save this guy. Execute this guy. What happened? Line number? Line number? 15? 13. Who removed this? Who did this? Okay. It says employee name, Mr. Raj, basic salary, so and so. Huh? Why it is not asking for gender? I gave it. Gender is Raj. Enter gender, employee name, basic salary. Enter name, Krish, gender, male, basic salary, so and so. So name is so and so, gender is so and so, basic salary tax to be paid this much. It is greater than salary. Why so? No, the thing is, after I read the basic salary, do I need to convert that kind to number? Percent. Yeah, you can do that guy also. So you can simply say name, gender, male, basic salary. Okay, this is how it is, guys. Are we clear now? Everyone? Okay, Prasad, who asked me to solve this? Hope you are clear now. Please save this, sir. I already did, sir. Okay, next thing. Can I go with the next topic or do you have unmute everyone, sir? May I know? Okay. Yeah, any questions before I go into this?
Hello, sir.
Any question?
Hello.
Rahul, are you putting any question here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah, ask me.
Sir, I have did this assignment in a different way.
I think I couldn't able to hear this.
I did this assignment in a different way.
1 second, Rahul. Please don't speak it out. I mean, I'm logging from my phone. No, comes from CPU.
పొద్దున్న ఫోన్ చేస్తాను అంటే పొద్దున్న ఫోన్ చేస్తారు
Rahul, now you can go ahead.
Sir, I have did this assignment in a different way by taking some ma'am's reference. Can you check it once, please, sir? Means I couldn't understand that, but it is getting same result.
Sure, I can do that. I'll check it out. Have you submitted the code?
Yes, sir. P. Rahul, sir. P. Rahul.
Which one, Rahul, in this?
Wait a minute, sir. It is not got submitted, sir.
Is
Yes, sir.
this one? Employee
Yes.
details with function?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what Rahul says is, he has done the same guy. He has done the same assignment in a different way. He just want to check it out. He's getting the answer, the result, but he's checking. I mean, he's asking us like whether it is okay or not. So what he has done is he said like employee read data. He's reading the name, age, gender, so and so. He has some PF and HRA. He is passing the basic salary. You are getting the total salary. Where EMP info is total salary plus gender, E-tax equal to tax details. So for the tax, you're passing a single array. That is fine. It's all good. The only thing is, instead of passing individual parameters, you're doing this. That is fine, Rahul. This
No,
also
sir.
looks good.
I have a
In
doubt
fact,
in
like
this
not much
assignment.
change between yours and mine. Almost same.
No,
Just a
sir.
bit of difference. Like instead of passing this individual parameters, I was passing as 2, but you're taking as an array. Am I clear, Rahul?
No, sir. I have a doubt in this assignment, sir.
Rahul, are we good?
No, sir. I have a doubt in this assignment. I have did this by taking someone helps. So I want to
Yes.
know what is the meaning of 19th line, sir.
Could you repeat again?
I want to know the meaning. What is the answer of 19th line, sir? Explanation. I need explanation of 19th line.
In your example?
Yes, sir. Hello. Yes, sir.
పైసలు ఉన్నాయి కానీ ఆమె ఏపీ ట్యాక్స్ నుంచి లెటర్స్ ఏవో ఉంది దానికి ప్రాసెస్ ఏదో ఉంది మనకు అర్థమవుతుంది. రామరెడ్డి సార్ అడుగుతా ఇప్పుడు సార్ అంటే ఈ నెల లాస్ట్ వరకు అయితే కన్ఫర్మ్ వచ్చే అనుకుంటున్నాం. ఈ నంబర్ నీదేనా? సరే.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you see at line number 19 and 20, 19, you are taking those two variables, creating an array here. Now you're passing that array as a parameter. Instead of this, you can even say something called as T salary, comma gender also like this, right? You can do this. So instead of passing two individual parameters, you're taking them as an array and you're passing this array name itself as a parameter here. So there is no much difference. The advantage what you have is in future, if you have n number of values, a many number of values, in that case, this is recommended. You have a single variable, you will say just data. Under that, you have every other data. You don't need to say comma, separated multiple parameters here. Are we clear? Rahul, are you clear now?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just reverting this. Is someone speaking? Okay. Coming back to this guy. Hope everybody is clear with this now. Employee details, passing parameters and returning values. Okay. Now the next part is what? Sorry? Multi-dimensional array. Yes, I said like I'll be talking about. You asked or someone else asked this, right? You asked this, yes. So let me show you that multi-dimensional array also. In a rare case, you will get a chance to work with this, but let's have an idea on this. So it's very simple, guys. For example, you know, like when you go with this, you would have know, like in case of your mathematics, you have something called as matrices, something like this. Okay, where you're going to put some values like this, row wise and column wise, say some 10, 2, 5, and 6. This guy will be 7, 8, 9. 1. Oh man, like this, like you'll be having, I mean, the data in the form of row wise and column wise. So how you're going to represent the same guy in case of your arrays? In order to mention this guy, I say where some data equal to array of 34, 5, 6, 7. So this is a one single dimensional array. You'll have only the row, not in the form of column. If at all you want to store an array which is in the form of 3 by 3 matrices or 3 by 3 dimensions, you can make this like this. So you can say an array of so and so like this, an array of something like this. So this is a 3 by 3 array, 3-dimensional array. Okay. You can't see this like this. I mean, obviously then you can have to write the logic. If you want to show it, obviously in the form of matrix, I can't draw square boxes because that is a picture. But if at all you want to see the data, you can say this. For example, where I equal to 0, I less than data, not data dot length, it is 3, I plus plus. If I console dot log data of I, let us see what is going to come. Now, once I run this guy, inspect this, go for console. You see, it is going to be 3, 3 like this, but I don't want this. I want to see the values here. Now, if at all you have to see the values, do I need to run? Because when I say data of 0, what is this? It is a single array you are getting. This is data of 0, this is data of 1, this is data of 3. Now, if I need to go inside this guy, then what I need to do? I need to run another for loop where j equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. Okay, now I say console dot log data of I of j. Because if I say data of 0, this is the one what I'm coming. If I have to get 34, what I need to do? Data of 0 of 0. Okay, now once I console this guy, save it, reload. This is how it is. But again, it's not in the form of matrices. Let me remove this guy. It is not in the form of matrices. He's saying that I want to see in the form of row wise and column wise. Then what I have to do? Don't show this guy here. Where values. Okay, I will say values equal to values plus data of I of j plus some spaces like this. Now you console this guy. I say console dot log values. Save this and reload. What is this? Why it is NaN? data of 0 of 0 is 4, right? Why it is coming NaN? Oh, values is equal to empty, right? Like this. So this is in the form of an array. In the same way, you go with 4 by 4. I say something called as 11. I say something called as 89. Something called as 45. Save this and do it. Yes. Instead of this, can I make it dynamic? I say data of 0 dot length. Okay. In this way, you can make it as dynamic. Cannot read properties of undefined of reading. Why so? Okay, because if it is 4 by 4, I need to make these guy another array, right? Yes or no? Reload. Okay, so if at all you want to work with that 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, any dimensional, you can work like this. Are you clear with the expression? You also clear? Who asked this? Sorry, you asked this. Clear, right? How you make 3 into 4? Yeah, the same thing, right? If at all, for example, if I don't have this, for example, this guy, then in that case, I need to mention it as 3. I made it as 4 every time. That is the so it will be 0, 1, 2. Okay, the rows will be this guy. Sorry. These guy will be 3. These guy will be 4. Isn't it? You can put any type of dimension, not need to be equal number of rows and columns. Instead of, okay, if you want to make it dynamic, then the first guy will be, this guy will be data dot length. And the second guy will be data of 0 dot length. Done. Now you can change it. Delete. I don't delete. Why I delete, man? No, I don't do that. Clear? Any more questions before I go for the JSON, guys? Anyone, guys, let me know any questions what you have before I go with the JSON. JSON is very, very, very important topic. This, I mean, till now we are going the format in, we are going to declare the data in the form of single variables. And if it is multiple variables, again, we are going with individual variables. If you want to group it, we are going with arrays and all, but this is not at all recommended, guys. Sooner we are going to replace all the variable declarations only using the JSON. And JSON is one of the popular data format nowadays in the market. Lot of data formats we have, XML, we have arrays, we have, and we have dictionaries, maps, etc. and all. But among all this, JSON is one of the very, very, very interesting and very, very reusable data format. And the use of this data format, JSON data format, like initially it is been introduced in your JavaScript, but later the popularity of JSON was too much. Not only the JavaScript, other technologies also started supporting the JSON format. Java also supports JSON. .NET also supports JSON. I mean, any type of complex JSON can be stored inside your JSON object. If you remember, when I was talking about the data structures, I said you that JavaScript is not supporting the trees, graphs, linked list, etc. things and all. Then you may ask me a question, if at all I want to store that type of data, how do I do that? Okay, JSON is the solution for that. Using your JSON, any type of data structure can be represented there. Okay, so that much usage you have with your JSON. So make sure everybody put some extra attention. Yes, please. The two, and okay, that's a good point. So I said like it is one of the useful and one of the popular data structure we have. But the main advantage what I have is the most easiest data structure you have is the JSON. The most easiest, guys, not even arrays. Easier than the arrays. Okay, obviously we have seen only the array as a data structure, right? Till now, it is most easier, not just only arrays. You go with the trees, you go with the graphs, any data structure you go, comparatively it is easier than any of the data structure. Are we clear? Okay, so make sure everybody puts some extra attention. That again, I'm putting the question. Can I go forward? Do you are clear with each and every question till now? Yes, ma'am. Is there any concept? Associated array? It is anonymous array, right? Not associated array. Guys, finish. I'll wait. Yes. Data of 0 as data of, okay, the string you're saying. I mean, the index itself, instead of 0, you want to make it a string. That is what JSON. In your JSON, again, I'll show you that instead of index, that numeric value, what she's saying is, most till now, say, for example, if you're storing the data, like the student data, I say that name, age, gender is the array what I have taken. Now, if I have to retrieve, I have to say that name of 0, data of 0, data of 1, data of 2. Now, what she's saying that, what if I want to associate a name to the data? Okay, I will say that data of name, you give me the name, data of age, you give me the age, data of gender, you give me the gender. So in order to do that, arrays doesn't support that. Arrays is simply storing the data and it is only assigning a numeric index value. If you want to associate a key for that, that is where JSON we are going now. What is const? I never talked about this way. You have a lot of questions. Okay, const is one of the keyword which is supported in your ECMA 6. From ECMA 6, it's in JavaScript itself. From ECMA 6, anytime you want to define a variable with some constant value, with a fixed value, then we go with the const. This I'm going to cover in your ECMA 6. Actually, let and const are the keywords. Let, I think I already covered. Yeah. We support, obviously, hoisting, right? Shadowing is not supported in your JavaScript. Let is supporting the hoisting only within the module, right? For example, no. For example, I create a sample. You tried with that? Let guy hoisting. What it says? I say some if true. Is it a block or a module? Block. Now I say console.log a value. I say let a equal to say some 90. I say console.log a value. Okay. Now when I come back, open in the browser, inspect this guy, go for console. Good point. So what's he saying that let is not supporting the hoisting concept. That is true, right? If I make this guy as where, you see, you'll get it as undefined. But if I make it as let, it is not supporting this. Next question. It's not supporting the shadowing too. Okay, I will check and let you know. Okay, keep this question parking. I'll check on this. Anything else? Okay. Yeah. So any more questions before I go with the next topics? Yes. Assignment. Come on, man. I'm got bored with assignments. Tell me. Second smallest and second largest. Come on. I already shown you smallest and largest. Simple logic. I mean, when you're finding the array of values itself, then you should be able to find out the second largest. First of all, don't write a same example for both second largest and second smallest. Only try to work out the second largest. Okay, try for that. If it's not coming, let me know. Arguments keyword. Actually, yeah, I'm still pending with the arguments keyword, right? Actually, arguments keyword has been replaced with the rest parameters in your what do you say, ECMA 6. But anyway, let me throw some light on it. What actually arguments keyword is. Let us say I have an example. Say, for example, I'm going to create a function, something called as add values. Okay. I want to write a generic function, add values, where you pass me something called as two values. I'm going to find the result for this. I say result is equal to 0. I say result is equal to a plus b. I say console.log okay, save this guy. I say add values of 30, comma 40. Okay, save this guy. Open in this browser here. I say inspect, go for console. I see the result as 70. Any questions? Clear. Okay. Now on the top, for example, I take the same guy, and what if I'm passing some three values here? Okay, I say 34, 40, 30 again. Now again it is throwing the same value. Why so? It is considering only two values, the third parameter not being considered. Now if I say something called as some 10 and 4 and some 30, again it will consider only 10 and 4. Why so? In your JavaScript, I mean, you may have a question like, boss, I'm passing with two parameters, it is invoking this guy. I'm passing with three parameters, how come this guy is invoked? In JavaScript, when I'm matching the function call with the function definition, I only see the name of the function. I don't see the number of parameters and type of parameters here. Isn't it? Okay, I'm going over here. You pass me three values, but as the function has been defined with only two values, I'm skipping all the remaining parameters here. Okay, those are gone. Now I want to write a generic method in such a way that doesn't matter. I pass two values, I pass 100 values, I pass 200 values. If, I mean, it still could able to perform the sum of all these values. So how it is? Now, anytime you're passing a function or you're calling a function with some parameters, by default, there is a keyword which will be created inside the function, which we call it as arguments keyword. Arguments is one of the predefined keyword by default gets created in your JavaScript in each and every function. Okay. In a function, arguments keyword will be created automatically. You don't need to create it. Now, can I say console.log some z? Is it going to throw me an error? Is it going to throw me an error? Obviously, boss, because z is the variable which is not created. But if I say something called as a variable arg, is it going to throw me an error? Why? Who said? It is arguments, right? It is only arg. Arg is a variable. Obviously, it is going to throw me an error. But when I say arguments, then in that case, if I ask you a question, is it going to throw me an error? No, boss. Why so? This is a predefined variable automatically created inside this function. Like this, you create any number of function. For each and every function, it create a variable, something called as arguments. Now, what does this argument contain? This is a array which is going to have all the values whatever you are passing, not all the values what you are catching. Okay, now if I console this guy, arguments, save this, come back and reload the page. First time my arguments keyword is having 30 and 40. Second time my arguments is having 30, 40 and 30. Fourth time it is 10, 4 and 30. Am I not catching all the values? Irrelevant of whether you are catching or not. Okay, by default an array arguments keyword will be created, which is going to have the extra information also that what is the callee guy, who has called me, at the same time what are the list of parameters what they are passing in the form of an array. Now if I already have an array which is already having the data, instead of depending on this AB, you see here, what if I'm not catching anything? Okay, what if I'm not catching anything? You don't need to catch it. You see, still I could able to catch all the values. Either you catch it or you don't catch it, still I will be catching all the values, whatever you are passing to this. Now, in that case, what I can do, instead of depending on this A comma B, can I write a simple logic? I say where result is equal to 0, I say for loop, where I is equal to 0, I less than arguments dot length I plus plus. Now I say result plus equal to arguments of I. Any questions? Now once you save this guy and I say console.log result, save this, reload. First time I'm getting the result as 70. Am I considering 2 parameters? Yes. Second time I'm doing 100. Am I considering 3 parameters? Yes. Fourth time it is 3 parameters. Now what if I say n number of values here? I say something 34, 5, 7, 8. Doesn't matter how many parameters you pass me. I should be able to catch all those and I could be able to perform the sum over here. This is what we have arguments keyword. You don't need to create it. By default, it gets created in each and every function of your JavaScript, which will catch all the parameters, whatever you pass to that guy. Are we clear? Any parameter you pass to me, you say something called as, here you say some Raj, say some test. Like this, any type of parameters you pass, it will be done. The last guy will be Raj test because it is string appending. Any data type you pass, I will be catching them as an arguments keyword. Yes, yes. Obviously, first time I'm doing 30 plus 40 plus 30 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7. It's a number. Now that number plus Raj, now it is string. Any questions up to this? Now you see the magic over here. What if here is it is a normal function or arrow function? Normal function. Now, if I make this guy as an arrow function, for example, I comment out this guy. Okay, I say, obviously it is not recommended from your ECMA 6. I say add values is equal to an arrow function. Now, when you save it and when you reload this guy, you see what is the problem you see? Arguments is not defined. Whenever it is a normal function with a function keyword, then only arguments keyword will be created in your JavaScript. If it is from your ECMA 6 latest arrow function, it is not going to create the arguments keyword. Why the reason? Why they have dropped the support of it? The reason why they have dropped the support is, you see here, if you say something called as A, B, C, either you define it or you don't define it. Am I catching that guy? Unnecessarily, why you're wasting your memory in catching this guy, man? If you say A, B, C, now remaining all, okay, if you catch it, that is fine. Why you are unnecessarily catching if the user is already having this A, B, C, D? Why you are catching the remaining things? Okay, so to avoid this guy, now they have come up with something called as rest parameter from your ECMA 6. You know what they will do? They'll say something called as A, B, C, something called as D, like this. Now what is going to happen? You pass 2 parameters. Okay, for sure you need to mention, okay, when I say this guy like this. So for sure you need to pass 2 parameters. 30 will be going to A, B, 40 will be going into B. Now, what about this triple dot B? That is nothing. But when I'm passing 3 parameters, or else when I'm passing this many parameters, first will be going for this, second will be going for this, remaining all will be stored in the form of an array, which is called as D. Anyway, I'll throw some light when I actually come to the ECMA 6 concept. Okay. For now, if at all you have to use the arguments keyword, you cannot make use it in your arrow function until we cover the ECMA 6 concept. At that time, I'll talk about this. What do you mean by rest parameter? Any parameter which starts with 3 dots, we call it as a rest parameter. Okay. Any questions? So arguments will take all type of values. Obviously, Nukraju, like we can pass any type of values, right? When I'm calling a function, you can pass any type of data type, arguments or parameters. Can I go forward? Can I go forward? Everyone so good? Okay. Now, let us talk something about, as we said, that JSON data structure. No running notes? Haven't I created it? Okay. JSON, full form. JavaScript object notation. Repeat again. Full form. Object notation. Once again. Very good. So in case of your JSON, how the data will be stored? The data inside your JSON will be always stored in the form of key and value pairs. But before actually going with the JSON, as we have already finished with your arrays, you should ask me a question. When we already have arrays, why the reason that you are taking us to the JSON? Isn't it? We already started with the data structure called as array. So let us see what are the not the disadvantages. We can say that what is the limitation of your arrays, what all we couldn't able to do with your arrays, but now what I could able to do without arrays or with JSON, then we'll have a look on that. Let us take an example by using the arrays itself. Student details with array.html. Okay, I'm not going with functions and all because my concentration is mainly on the data structure. I'm not even going with the dynamic type. I'll go with the hard coded. I say student name equal to say something called as Tina. Understand this concept, guys. If you don't, I mean, it should not be a case like, okay, JSON, I'm using JSON, arrays, I'm using arrays. No, it should do a case something called why the reason we are going with the data structure. Okay, why I'm going with the next thing, why I already have arrays. So you need to understand what is the limitation. Then you should be able to understand that, you know, there should not be a case like when the requirement comes, you should not ask anyone that whether I need to use arrays or JSON. You should be enough intelligent that whether arrays fit there or JSON will fit there. Okay, you need to understand this. Now I say student name where something called as gender equal to say something called as male. Sorry. Okay, where M1 equal to something called 50, M2 is equal to say some 90, M3 is equal to say some 99. Okay, it says that name is so and so, gender is so and so, total is so and so, average is so and so. Fine, everyone. Okay. Now on the top, you tell me, do you think I have declared the variables fine, or do you have any suggestions for me here? You mean to say that I have declared the variables hard coded? You mean to say reading the, okay, consoling or here itself? Okay, that is fine. That's a point. Next, any other suggestions you have in the way I'm declaring the data?
Instead
I
of
can
M1,
define in the
M2,
form of
M3,
an
M4.
array. When at least you come to the student details, do you really think that it is recommended to go with this individual variable names? Do you really think that it has to be declared in individual variables? As we already know, the problem what we have is, for example, in future, if I get to see or a student is having some 50 subject marks, I can't go for M1, M2, M3, M4, M49, and M50. It's not a valid way of declaring those many variables. As we already know, these all belong to a one particular category called as marks. Why don't I define them or group them in the form of an array? Okay, why don't I define them or group them in the form of an array? So what I'm suggesting, instead of this guy, we say that where marks is equal to array of, say some 56, say some 90, say some 99 and 100. Can I do this, boss? Now you may have 100 subject marks, but I have only one single variable called as marks. Now can I run a for loop in order to find out the total here, boss? Yes, right? Now I say where total is equal to 0. I say for loop where I equal to 0, I less than total dot, sorry, marks dot length, right? Marks dot length I plus plus. Now I say total plus is equal to marks of I. Any questions? Is everyone clear? Okay, now I save this, come back here, reload this page. Am I getting the same output? But the advantage is I'm not writing some scattered number of variables. I am grouping all the relative content into single variables here. Any questions? Clear, everyone? Okay. Now I ask you a question. If you really see, I have the student name, the student, or else, for example, I say where EMP salary is equal to say something called as 2000. Someone comes and claims that employee salary belong to the marks. Do you agree with that? Employee salary variable or value belong to the marks array. Do you agree with that? No, boss. If that would have been belonging to this guy, that would have been part of the array. If it is outside of the array, it doesn't belong to this guy. Agree? Agree? Yes. Now the second point what I have is, boss, if you see why the reason I have grouped all the marks here, M1, M2, M3 subject marks all belonging to the student data, that is the reason I'm grouping in the form of an array. But if you clearly see the student name, the student gender, the student total, the student marks, aren't they all belonging to details of student, boss? Yes or no? Now, if they all belonging to the same data, why you're defining them as individual variables? Why don't you group all of them in the form of an array? Okay, now what I'm suggesting is, let me comment out this part. This is working fine, but I'm asking for a better way of programming here. Now I say that when I say student name, gender, I can remove this guy. Student name, gender, marks, total, all these belong to the student data, boss. Why you're defining as an individual variables? Can I say something like where student data is equal to an array? Because in JavaScript, array is a heterogeneous data structure. I can store any type of data. Now I say something called as Tina. I say something called as female. I say something called as marks of this guy. This also I can keep it inside this array itself. Yes. Now I say 0 for your total. Any questions, boss? Now, do I need to have all these individual variables, boss? Not at all needed. Because when I say that name, age, gender, marks, anything, whatever it is belonging to the student data, now you're creating as an array. Someone comes and claims that EMP salary belonging to the student data, you'll simply say no. Earlier, there is a chance you might say that it might be belonging, but now you won't. Why so? If the EMP salary would have been belonging to this array, it would have been part of this array. Why you're defining them outside? Isn't it? If you're defining inside this, then only it will belong to that array. Otherwise, it doesn't belong to this. Now, employee name will come, employee salary will come. You simply say that it doesn't belong to student data. Okay. Now, what is the thing I need to do? When I say marks.length, marks is what? Instead of marks, can I say student data of 2.length? What is student data of 0? Tina. Student data of 1, this guy. Student data of 2, is this complete array? Yes or no? Yes. Now I say this total, this is student data of 3 is equal to student data of 2 of I. Average, obviously I need to store average also. These guy will also become 0. Now this average will be student data of 4 is equal to student data of 3 divided by student data of 2 dot length. Any questions? I am reading everything from the array. Now, student name I have to show. Is it S name or student data of 0? Right? In the same way, gender, student data of 1. Total, student data of 3. Student data of 4. As simple as it is, boss. Now, when you save this guy, come back here, reload the page. Same output, boss. You go with individual variables. You go with array of marks. You go with array of all the variables. You are getting the same output. But you suggest me what? What do you suggest or what do you recommend for me? First way, second way, or third way? Obviously, the third way. Why so? When I say student data, everything is into a single variable. I'm grouping all the relevant information into a single block or a single variable. Are we clear? Understood, everyone? So this is what it is recommended every time. You have to group all the data into a single variable in the form of array. Now, any questions online, students? Are we good up to this? Sorry? Why confusion? I'm clear. What is student name? Yeah, that's the next thing. Now, he says that it is a confusion. Even I will say that. For example, I say mistakenly, if I change the position, instead of student data of 4, if I make student data of 2, mistakenly I changed one of the position. It has to be 4, but I made it as student data of 3. Is my application is gone now? Yes or no? My average is coming as 0. Why the reason? This is what the problem you have with your array, guys. What is the problem you have with your array? Whenever you are storing the data, you just store the data. There is no other extra information along with the data. Now, if it is arrays, this is what the problem you have. Whenever you see the data here, do you have any extra information? What is Tina? What is female? What is this array of values? Assume like this is the array what you're receiving from the server. You put a request to the server. Server is simply returning back to you to the array. Now, under this array, what is Tina? Is it a country name, state name, username, teacher name? What is the name? What is the details of this? If I say female, is it a gender or it's a normal string or some group of characters? What actually it is? Array of marks. Is it a marks or is it an array of some total, array of some PF? How do I get to know? The only extra information what you have in the array is, what is that extra information? You will have the index value. This is into the first position. This is into the second position. This is third. And this is 4. This is the only extra information what you have inside your array, the index values. Does the index value will give any type of extra information for you? No, boss. 0 of Tina. Okay, what is that? I don't have any extra information. This is what the limitation. You can't say disadvantage, but this is the limitation what you have with your arrays. Whenever you are storing the data, you only have the data, but no extra information. Any questions up to this? Okay. At the same time, the second limitation what we have is we are very much strict with the position. If the position interchanges somewhere, you're gone, boss. Okay. That is where we are coming with the JSON. Everybody is so clear the limitations or disadvantages, limitations of your array? Yes. Now this is where we are coming with your JSON object. Now, what do you mean by JSON object? When I say where data is equal to something, is it an array or a JSON object? Array or a JSON object. Anywhere you see the open and closed square braces, close your eyes, you can simply say that it is an array. But if I say where data is equal to open and closed flower braces, this is going to be an object, or you can call it as a JSON. These guy will be an array in your JavaScript. Are we clear? Any variable which is being assigned with a open and closed flower braces, we call it as an object or a JSON. Any guy who is being assigned with some open and closed square braces, that guy is called as a array. Okay. Now, under this JSON object, how the data is going to be stored? Okay. Under the JSON object, how the data we are going to store here? The data will be always stored in the form of a key, colon, what is its value, comma, we say something called key 2, colon, value 2. In the same way, key 3, colon, value 3, something like this. Like this, inside a single JSON object, you can store any number of key value pairs, where the key is always a string. I'll take up. Where the key is always a string, where value is any data type what JavaScript supports. Okay. When I say key, it could be name. Why the reason I'm saying that key is a string, boss? The reason is, if you clearly see that I say where name is equal to Mr. Raj, I say where age equal to 20, I say where is fee paid equal to true. Assume this is the value what I have. Can you tell me what is the data type of age? Data type of age. Number. What is the data type of is fee paid? Boolean. What is the data type of name? It is string. Now, if you clearly see the data type of the variable is string, data type of age is 20. But if I point out only this guy, what is this AGE? Is it a string or a number? String. What is this ISFWPAID? Is it not a string? Every time variables will be string, value is the one what it is changing. Agree? That is the reason the key inside the JSON object always is string. You cannot say 10 equal to 20, isn't it? I can say A equal to 20. A is a string holding a value called as 10. But can I say 10 equal to 100? No. So the keys inside the JSON object is always a string, where the value could be number, boolean, function, object, array, any data type what JavaScript is supporting. Are we clear? Now I take the same array. If at all I have to mention this guy inside the JSON, you know what I'll say? I will simply say like this. Guys, this is very important. Let's have a look. Now I say where something called as student data is equal to object. How can I say that it's an object? Because it is been assigned with open and close flower braces. Okay. I put the first key, something called as student name, space, colon, what is its value? Something called as Tina. Value is a string. Haven't I said that key is also a string? Key is also a string. Yes, in JavaScript, every key is a string. So for sure, you need to specify that guy as double colons. Okay. In the same way, I say age, something called as 20. Do I need to put semicolon here, inverted commas? No. I say is fee paid equal to something called as true. I say marks is equal to array of so-and-so and so-and-so. These guys all should be inverted commas. Either could be single or double. Any questions on this object, guys? Earlier, the same guy, we are defining something like this. Now we are defining something like this. Now assume this is the object which is coming from the server to you. Now, can I say that what is Tina? It is a name, boss. What is 20? It's a age, boss. What is this true? It's is fade, boss. What is this array? Marks, boss. Am I not having the extra information along with the data inside the JSON object? Yes, boss. This is what the advantages you have with your JSON object over the arrays. Clear, everyone? Okay. Now what we do is earlier we have done the student details example with the array. Shall I do the same guy with your objects? So I say student detail with array instead of this with object. In your JavaScript, I don't need to say every time it has a JSON object. If it is an object, it's a JSON object. Okay. Now I remove this guy. Okay. This is what I have. Now, do you suggest this guy? No. Do you suggest this guy? No. Now I say where student data is equal to JSON object. Name is Tina. I say gender is female. I say marks is array of some 56, 90, 99, 100. Okay, I say total is going to be 0. AVG is going to be 0. Now I put the inverted commas for this guy. Every time the key should be always a string. I'll tell you what is the optional way also. Okay, this is how it is being defined, guys. Any questions in this? Any questions in this guy? Are we good? Okay. Now, okay, boss, when you are defining the array, this is what you are doing. Say, for example, Tina, I need to access. How do you access that guy? You simply say data of 0. We always strictly depend upon the index value. Whereas when I come to the JSON, if I have to access Tina, you know what I'll do? Object name dot what is the key name. When I am accessing the object dot key, I don't need to put inverted commas for the name. I can simply say what is the object, what is the key. It will return you Tina. If I have to get age, student data dot age, student data dot is fee paid, student data dot marks. Okay. Now what I'll say here, I need to access student data. Can I simply say student data dot marks here? Array dot length. In the same way, this is total, right? Can I say student data dot total here? Can I say student data dot average here? This guy will be student data dot total divided by student data dot marks dot length. Now this guy will be student data dot name. This guy will be student data dot gender. This guy will be student data dot total, and this guy will be student data dot AVG. Any questions, boss? Line number 27. What happened? This guy will be student data dot marks of I. Earlier, the same guy we have done with the arrays. Now I'm accessing the data over here. Anytime you want to access any of the data, it should be object name dot key name. Now, if you save this guy, let us see the output of this. Now, once I inspect this guy, am I getting the same output since from the last 4 different ways we have done? What do you suggest? This is the one you suggest. Okay. Never define any type of scattered data. Anytime you want to define any data of the any data in your JavaScript, if you have more than one data, make it as a JSON object. I asked you, you have to store the student number of students. You tell me JSON or normal variable? Number of students. Simple variable. Why should I go for JSON? Number of students is 120 something. That's a single variable. I want to store the student name and age. JSON or single individual variables? JSON. More than one, go for the JSON. Are we clear, guys? Okay. And other things what we have is how do you make it as dynamic data instead of hard coding? What is the complex structure of the JSON? These all things we'll be discussing in the tomorrow's class. We'll be pausing for today. Have a good day. Bye for today. So make sure everybody does the enough practice on this. You can work with the employee details also. Example, take some employee detail where you calculate the PF, HR and all in the form of JSON. Okay. Have a good day. Bye for today.